All right, now with us, and we apologize for keeping him waiting. He's a good man. He's the number 2 ranked UFC bantamweight contender right now. Man just looking to prove that he's the best guy in the world at 135 pounds and might just get that opportunity sooner than you think. The great Funkmaster Aljamain Sterling is here. Man.
Baby, I'm here, baby. I'm here.
He looks so good. He looks so good. I mean, if I could have bought stock in this guy a few years ago, Ken Flo, if I could have bought stock in Aljamain Sterling, I would have bought, and I wouldn't be selling now with this 4-fight winning streak, 6 of 7. You're looking great, man. How you feeling?
Pretty good. We just got a dog pound workout session this morning. We got another one later tonight. We're crushing, man, getting geared up for June 6th. Hopefully, we could put that on pause and get ready for a title fight instead.
So let's start with the wrist then, because I know it was a pretty invasive surgery. I know you went to the UFC PI to really try to dive into the rehabilitation. Where is the wrist, and how satisfied are you with that part of the process now in the rearview mirror?
I mean, I'm satisfied in terms of the pain. The pain is gone. To be 100% honest, I don't have full range of motion, which is okay. It's better than what it was before. I actually have grip strength. I can actually hold people now again. And get takedowns. So that's the one relief after finally getting this procedure done. But I wish I had got it done a little bit earlier, because I think the range of motion would have been a little bit better had I gotten it right after the Pedro fight, instead of being told that I might fight Frankie Edgar at MSG. You know, so I was willing to put that off on hold, and I was even willing to fight Peter Yan to figure out who the real number 1 contender was, to kind of get ready for Henry Cejudo to come back from his surgery. But I don't know. It seems like the stars kind of aligned for everybody, and hopefully better for myself. And yeah, that's it.
So Aljo, you know, I don't know if there's more clarity or less clarity after the title fight that just happened between Cejudo and Dominic Cruz, but I guess I have 2 questions. Number 1, what did you think of the stoppage? And number 2, what do you think is going to happen with Cejudo and the rest of the division? Do you think that's a legitimate retirement from Cejudo, or do you think he's going to be able to stay in the UFC?
I will say I thought the stoppage was like right on the border, but I do think Dom was done. We counted 13 unanswered strikes, and I'm not saying they were the biggest bombs, and some of them were kind of glancing. Yeah. But I don't think he was in a bad way when he got hit with that, as Dominic Reyes puts it, a crow hawk after the knee. His whole head planted. It did not look good. I'm not saying he couldn't have rallied back. We would never know. Right. But there was some pretty significant strikes, and it was kind of it kind of reminded me of TJ Dillashaw when he fought Henry Cejudo as well in that same position. And the one thing I will give credit for Cejudo did really well when he had him in the turtle position. He didn't have a tight waist with his right arm and just punched with the left. He took his right hand and he froze Dominic Cruz's right arm to the mat, so he couldn't do the Granby roll that he normally does or try to get back to his feet. So him blocking the arm, unloading those strikes, it took away Cruz's ability to block the punches and for him to roll out of danger to kind of recover. So Cejudo did a really good job in that position. And even though he was on his way up when the ref jumped in. So it's really hard to say that Cruz was still in it. I mean, he could have probably landed another 3-4 punches, and we really don't know what would have happened. I don't know. So that I felt like it was an okay stoppage. You ate that many strikes. You didn't block. You couldn't roll. It's really hard. I don't know, man. It's one of those things where it's a title fight. I know what he's talking about and giving him every opportunity. But we saw every opportunity against Anthony Smith versus Glover Teixeira. And you know,
what's interesting too, Aljo, is that Keith Peterson said all he was really looking from Dom was one hand to the face, right? Just show me that you're trying to block a headshot. And of course, his right arm wasn't able to do that, but he was trying to post. And people talk a lot about the referee needing to know how much time's in the round. I do believe it's incumbent upon the athlete, if there's only 2 seconds, just total desperation, put a hand up, whatever you got to do. He couldn't extend to the third, and here's our reality, you know?
I agree. When you're in the heat of the moment, the ref's not checking his wristwatch and going, wait, there's only 4 seconds left. Let me see if he can survive. It doesn't really work like that. They're on full-on panic mode to make sure they make the right stoppage at the right time. And it's a stressful situation for refs. You know, it's not it's a very unforgiving job. You know, I can definitely attest to that. Just watching from the outside, like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. And to answer your other question, I don't know if Cejudo's really retiring. I just started hearing rumblings from Ali saying that he's going to be gearing up to fight in July or at the end of the summer, something like that. So I don't know if he's just trying to get extra money If he's going away, that'd be great for the division. We could start finally getting some normalcy with the best guys fighting the best guys, and not make this like boxing with the clown fights. And I'm not saying Dom is a clown, but I'm saying he hasn't fought in just about 4 years. So for him to not fight in 4 years and then jump in and think that you deserve a shot coming off of a dominant loss,
right?
That's where, for me, kind of it's on that borderline of a clown fight. Yeah, he was the greatest of all time. I think Father Time has passed him on, and not taking away from his accomplishments in the past, but we're in a different era, baby.
Right.
You got myself, you got Sandhagen, you got Peter Yans, you got the Song Yadongs, you got the Marlon Veras, you got Marlon Moraes. There's a lot of tough people out there that are looking up to these guys, and we're trying to fill those shoes and close that gap from the king with all the rest of the competition.
So in terms of the risk, just to go back to that, right? Part of the reason that Dominic Cruz maybe got this fight and you didn't could have been the fact that maybe the timeline wasn't perfect. Couldn't it have been that Cejudo didn't want to fight you, right? That Cejudo, right, felt like you were the most dangerous guy at 135 pounds, and maybe that was the reason you didn't get the fight?
It could be. I think there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle that for Cejudo to take a fight with any one of us young guys. It's the wrestling for me. It's the reach. It's the durability in terms of punishment. And I think I'm a fresher guy. I could wear the damage a little bit better. I mean, got hit with some bombs from Pedro Munoz, and not rattled one bit. So I think it's a little bit different when he's cracking these other guys, and he can kind of get them out there a little bit easier. Not saying like Marlon, but Marlon's been TKO'd, a couple times, not just the one time against Cejudo. So I think it's tough to say. I hope it wasn't the hand, because I told him I was good to go. I threw my name in the hat. And if it was for a title fight, that's a risk I'm willing to take. Even during the coronavirus quarantine, that's a risk I'm willing to take. The pay is 2.5 times the amount that I'm getting now. So I think financially, I can make that make a lot of sense and a lot of commas, So I think it's good, though. He got his money fight. He was on a big card with Tony Ferguson versus Justin Gaethje. So I think that worked out for him and in his favor. And hopefully that's enough for him to ride off into the sunset and never come bother us again.
Well, and I didn't put it right in terms of the wrist. I guess the better question would be, do you think that a month later, competing in mid-June or late June, that the range of motion in the wrist could be that much better if you get an extra 4 or 5 weeks before you fight?
Oh, 100%. More. I said the same thing to Sean Shelby. He asked me when I'd be ready to go back in, I think the UFC Virginia card. I saw him and I said, you know what, more time's always going to be best, but I'm good to go now. I was cleared. I'm training. I'm sparring. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing as a high-level athlete. It's just I'm just a little bit limited in terms of the range of motion, but some people are limited with their kicks, so my deficit makes up for someone else's deficit, so it kind of balances itself out. That's the way I kind of look at it. My best me today, the best version of me versus the best version of you today. So I would have been 100% down to take a fight, and more time is always better. More time is always better.
So in my mind, you are the number one bantamweight contender, and I say that with all due respect to Marlon Moraes, who has the number one next to his name. But I believe on the strength of the Pedro Munoz win, that being your 4th in a row, 6 of 7, and everything you bring to the table, and it's not because Longo's on the fucking show. I believe you to be the most worthy of a championship opportunity. But you have risen to that status right now while there's this COVID-19 backdrop. So what do you do in terms of your training regimen, knowing that not only could you be fighting one of the other best guys in the world here in 3 weeks, but you might be fighting for a vacant UFC Bantamweight championship in a month?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a lot to take in, man. I tell you what, it's a blessing to be in this position. I really, truly do feel I worked my ass off to get back here. I'll never stop saying it. A loss like that to Marlon, a devastating knockout, even though I still believe personally it was my fault, my own undoing. And, Marlon kind of subtly admitted to that wasn't the exact thing he was looking to do. But that's a career changer, man. There's a lot of people who don't bounce back from that, especially being so young in your career. It kind of make you have all these self-doubts. And from there, you can just spiral down with the 2, 3, 4 losses in a row and get cut. Sometimes it's just 2 losses. So I'm just glad I've been able to bounce back, keep my head on right, and I got the right coaches in my corner, the good teammates, and I did the right things. After that knockout, I took some time off from sparring and from training, and I think when I fought Brett Johns, I didn't spar until the last week before the fight, or the week and a half before the fight, and that was the only sparring I actually did, and all I did was wrestle. I was like, you know what? I'm going to wrestle. I told these guys, come after me. I want to see where my chin's at. And thank God I didn't get hit. But, I just wrestled. I'm just doing the right things, trying to take less damage to the brain, trying to preserve my body, more longevity. And maybe one day I can have a career like you guys in color commentating or a successful podcast and doing things like that. And obviously you need your brain and your health intact. And that's one of the things I'm really, really focused on. Like, fighting is great. I love it. Trust me. I come from a wrestling background. We used to do this for free, cut weight for free, week after week after week. You tell me I can make a couple $1,000s, I could pay for a couple of houses and go take vacations and lavish, luxurious places. I'm like, sign me up, man. I like fighting. So it's all gravy, man. And I see the proper 12. There's nothing wrong with having one of those after a hard-earned fight camp, and especially a hard-earned victory.
Dude, there are a lot of guys like you and Francis Ngannou that I do believe that with the belt around your waist, you can take that step to superstardom. And you might not even need the belt. I mean, if you need a reference for TV, I got that in my back pocket for you any day. Now, you're doing your podcast, The Weekly Scraps, obviously. So I know you ingest a lot of this MMA stuff to begin with, but do you find that you're either watching the fight game more analytically than before, knowing that you have to talk about it on the other side, or is it just the way you are and have always been?
Definitely more for the analytical side, and just because I enjoy it, I'm one of those guys who watches the first prelims to the main event. This is really all I do. This, a little bit of real estate on the side, and now I'm kind of working on my green thumb outside in the yard and doing a little bit of handy work. I've really been doing some stuff. I'm about to start the cabinets hopefully sometime this week, and I'm just all about learning, man. That's really it, and to just kind of be a sponge. I don't have any other job that's bringing in money, so this is my main focus. Focus on fighting. I can talk about fighting. It's kind of like when I was coaching and when I was coaching wrestling, and like right after I was wrestling. I think, Anik, Florian, once you go from being the student to now the teacher, you start to understand the philosophies a little bit deeper, and you could see it way better, and you get a better understanding of how things work and what positions, and kind of just know off the rip, okay, this is what I need to do in comparison to before, where sometimes your brain just doesn't see it. But when you take a step back, it gives you like that bigger picture, and you can understand just breaking down the small, minute details that make the situations work a little bit better, especially for MMA, man. We're fighting like it's a game of inches. You zigs or zag one way, an inch or a centimeter one way. That could be you on the canvas, or you being in a submission, getting tapped and choked out, or your arm even broken, So I think coaching has helped me out a lot, and I think watching the fights and breaking it down for the podcast has given me more opportunities to see, okay, what people are doing in different situations, take those skills and be like, hey guys, Kobe Covington did this in the fight against Robbie Lawler. This is what we're going to work on. This single leg, we're going to work our strikes into our entry. Once he gets to the cage, we're going to step over the leg. We're going to drive the knee inside. This is going to give us a better position to grab the ankle, scoop it out, and then we're going to foot sweep him and return him to the mat. And then we're going to go from there and start working our transitions. So it's been a big help.
See, and even guys like me can understand what the fuck you just said there. See, and that's the goal, right? Simplify. All right, we got rapid fire questions here with the great Aljamain Sterling on the way out. So, weapon for weapon, I've said I think you're the most dangerous guy right now at 135 pounds with this presumed to be vacant title. Who do you think is the most dangerous guy in the division? Is that a fair question to ask?
It's
you get one pass, so if you want to.
Yeah, it's who do I think is the most dangerous guy right now?
Yeah.
Man, I'm like torn between a Petr Yan and a Marlon Moraes.
Yeah.
If I had to pick one, I think Yan, because he has the cardio durability that we've seen, and we've seen Marlon kind of fade in the past. So for my pick, I think it's Petr Yan.
All right, total fights for Aljo in 2020. You trying to get 2 in this year? What do you think?
I would love to. If I could get 1 in June, I'm hoping I could fight again in November or December. That would be ideal.
All right, this question much harder. Over under 2.5 total kids for you and your lovely girlfriend when that time comes.
When what time comes to have the kids?
I'm saying you have an over under 2.5, right? So and if you say you're having over, meaning you want 3 children or more.
Yeah. Is there like a time frame on this, or?
No time frame. Just how many kids are you gonna have? Over under 2.5.
I'm gonna go over 2.5.
Oh my gosh, man. These people, Right?
That's a warrior right there.
I've done nothing but childcare for 10 years, so let's talk first. At least before you go run it back a third time. All right, fact or fiction, if you were getting married this weekend, Merab Dwalishvili gets a slot as a groomsman.
Ooh.
That's a good question, right?
That's
probably good. You can pass on that, probably.
I got a lot of friends that feel like they probably should be up there.
Shot, All right, well, I just wanted...
How many do you get, by the way?
If I'm Aljamain Sterling, I get as many as you want. Yeah. Ken Flo actually had a replacement groomsman the week of his wedding.
I did.
Podcast. And I didn't get the call as the replacement groomsman. All right. But, well, you got time to think about it. But I want to start the campaign for Merab at least right now. Other than mixed martial arts or wrestling, what sport were you best at?
I mean, if you ask me, if you ask other people, they might say something else. But I'm gonna say basketball.
Basketball. All right, two more. Are you a sports fan at all? Like, if you could pick one team to win a pro or college championship, is there any team that you root for?
The New York Giants. But just with getting fully invested into MMA, it's hard to find that time to train twice a day, sometimes 3, to go watching other sports. I just try to catch the highlights if I can and watch the playoffs.
All right, and last question. How old is Raymond Peter Longo, over under 60 years of age?
Over.
He knows the answer. All right, Aljamain Sterling, the Funkmaster. We appreciate your time, man, and sincerely hope you get that championship opportunity. You got 10 UFC wins. You've laid it all down, and I think you're richly deserving. I don't know which way they're going to go, but we appreciate your time and hope that the balls fall your way, kid.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks, you guys, for having me. And hopefully we get that crack, man. I'm going to try to seize the opportunity, get paid, and put on a real championship campaign and actually fight the #1 contenders, Try to bring it back to making the UFC great again.
I love it.
All right. Stay healthy, dude.
Take care of yourself. There he is, the Funkmaster Aljamain Sterling. And you hear from a lot of these #1 contender types and the champions, they want a meritocracy, right? Justin Gaethje wants to fight the most deserving guy. Khabib Nurmagomedov has always carried his championship reign that way. Max Holloway, Alexander Volkanovski, right? I mean, you think Holloway, he could have probably avoided Volkanovski, but he wanted to fight the #1 contender, And Volkanovski is cut from the same cloth, so I like hearing Aljo say that on the way out.
Absolutely. Yeah, they understand. The fans know this sport now, and they want to be truly validated as the champ. They want to earn it, and they also know they're going to benefit from it. That experience of fighting the best guys is going to get you the respect, and it's going to give you the skills as well.
All right, AnikFlorianPodcast.com. If you do want merchandise, there is a 10% off promo code. I believe it's AF on the website as well. MayRockyBJJ.com if you want to check out Ken Flo's Jiu-Jitsu school there in the greater Los Angeles area. Hopefully they will be opening those doors in the not-too-distant future. Also, the voicemail line. So next Tuesday, May 26th, is Ken Flo's birthday. So 857-301-8994. I'm only picking like 2 birthday voicemails, and if there's no comedic value, they almost assuredly will not get picked. So leave Ken Flo a birthday voicemail, and I'll close the show with this. I just got a text from Cheeto Vera as we're closing the show, and he said, "My man, thanks for the support." And, I just feel bad for men and women who put so much into this and feel like they've done everything right, and then all of a sudden they have to stare at a 1-fight losing streak instead of 6 in a row. So, Cheeto, you got our support. Angela Hill, everybody else, feel for all of you, but live to fight another day. And I guess we'll be back for the birthday week on Monday, kid. You got anything else?
That's it, man. No, just thank you for bringing those fights and putting that energy and effort into what you gave all the fans, man. An amazing job to you and the whole team. And let's keep it going. Let's go.
Yeah, love my colleagues, and thanks for the kind words. And with that, thanks to John Hackelman, Ray Longo, Ian Parker, TJ DeSantis, Cody Merrow. Hope I'm not leaving everybody out. For Ken Flo, I'm Jon Anik, AnikFlorianPodcast.com. We'll talk to you next week. Until then, yo fucking later.